live in a world where it's quite difficult to distinguish satire from reality. And to give you an idea of what I mean by that, let's play a quick game. I'm going to show you 3 news headlines, and you tell me which one of them is satire. Let's begin. Is it A, rapper Eminem tops Billboard's Hot Christian Songs chart for gospel collaboration and calls Jesus Christ the Savior? Is it B, San Francisco Bicycle Coalition says not to call police when your bike is stolen because it hurts black and brown people? Or is it C, PETA says good riddance to Dr. Fauci with a Halloween costume complete with an oversized syringe and stuffed eagle? And the answer is none. It was a trick question. All 3 of those news headlines to actually write satire these days. Oh, but does not stop some people on trying. People like Mr. Seth Dillon, the CEO of the Blvd, one of the largest satire sites on the entire web. And they are large despite the fact that they are heavily censored, having been suspended on Twitter, kicked off of TikTok, and even having had their email service provider suspend them as well. And so, while I was over in Texas, I took the opportunity to sit down and speak with Mr. Dillon in order to discuss, for one, the difficulty of writing satire in an already ridiculous world, and secondly, on a personal level, the importance of comedy in revealing vital truth that otherwise could never be said. Take a listen. You recently had some difficulties with your email service. You were trying to bypass some big tech censorship on the social media platforms using email, but even with the email you had some problems. Can you sort of lay it out for the audience what happened?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's hard to know what happens with these things because a lot of times you'll get shut off for a policy violation and you ask them, well, what policy did I violate? And they say, well, we don't have to disclose that to you, right? So we're using this service called Front App, and Front App is like a shared inbox service so that you can have your emails, your text messages, all different channels, direct messages from different social platforms, all funnel into one inbox that your customer support team can handle from one place. It's a very useful tool. There's all kinds of rules and canned responses and stuff like that. So we've been using that to manage our customer support stuff. And then out of the blue, we get a notice of termination that we're permanently suspended. There is no appeal. We violated their conduct policy. So, you know, this kind of stuff happens. You're never really safe on any of these platforms. And so we've just been, for the last couple of years, bouncing around to whatever platform will have us. Very frustrating, honestly, and a big setback for our business because everything was set up on this platform. But, you know, ultimately, they're a private business. They can do what they want, but if they're engaging in viewpoint discrimination, we didn't actually violate their terms of service, there's no way for us to, you know, get to the bottom of that or do anything about it. So, tough spot to be in, but, you know, there's going to be alternatives out there. We've already transitioned to one, but unfortunately, conservatives are this is the reality that we have to deal with.
So also, if you go on your Twitter page right now, the Blvd official Twitter account, the last post on there is from like March.
Yeah.
Right? What is it about your content your satire that has the people holding these levers of, you know, getting content out there, like the email service? I guess it's not the email service provider, but this email platform, the big tech. What is it about your content that's having them, you know, shut you down?
It's true. Our content is true. I mean, look, we're satire, right? We're fake news you can trust. That's our tagline. But there's truth to these jokes. That's the point. There's truth. We're reminding people. We're pointing back to the truth and trying to speak truth to culture using humor, using comedy. And the left is on a full-out assault against truth. They're on a full-out assault against rationality. They want you to say that 2 and 2 make 5. And if you don't say that, they want to boot you off the platform. So even if you just joke about how 2 and 2 make 4, if we do a joke about, and this is what got us knocked off Twitter, you know, USA Today had named Rachel Levine Woman of the Year. And this is a transgender person in the Biden administration. And, you know, we did a joke about how we were naming Rachel Levine Man of the Year. And so, you know, we're making a joke that's spoofing a real story, but it's rooted in the reality that this is a male person, you know, and a man is an adult human male. So there's truth to the joke. That's why they don't like it. That's why they want to take it down. They're fighting the truth, and that's why they're on. That's why they're fighting comedy, is because comedy speaks the truth.
You know, I think you've gotten sort of like to a deeper philosophical level. There's a panel discussion going on today. It's called something with the poo, but the poo spelled Pooh. And it's about Xi Jinping and how he's censoring people who talk about Winnie the Pooh, right?
Yeah.
And sort of the premise of that panel discussion is that tyrants really fear comedy because comedy can topple a regime, essentially, because of what you're saying. It gets the truth out in a way that's supposed to, like, sort of, it's like the common folk, you know, the common folk way to get the truth out.
Well, you know, the people in positions of power, our most powerful institutions, they want, and that's, it's not just the government, there's people in power in government, but there's also, celebrities and entertainment and education, all of these institutions, they have a narrative that they want to advance. They have a progressive narrative. They have their own propaganda. They have a narrative they want you to buy into. The last thing they want is somebody mocking and ridiculing and poking holes in that narrative. That's the comedian's job, honestly. And so, but that's why they squirm and get so worked up about jokes that they don't like, because those jokes are making their narrative that they want you to take seriously, we're making it less serious. We're causing people to question it. But that's really our job. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that anybody who's interested in the truth should be willing to have their own ideas examined in that way. But there's also the other side of it too, where it's like, we have so many bad ideas out there right now that are permeating our society. They're advancing so many crazy ideas, insane ideas, that really the best response to it is not to try to argue with people. I say, the way that I put it is this usually: if you've abandoned rationality on purpose and you're adopting an irrational view on purpose, and you are, but you're trying to do it anyway and push it on people, the best response to that is not to try to argue with someone who's abandoned rationality, because you're using reason against non-reason, right? The best response is to respond with ridicule, to make fun of it, to joke it, to mock the hell out of it. So I think that's why there's a target on our backs, because we do that very well.
All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, I wanted to mention that the sponsor of today's episode is a super cool company called Secure. They're a cool company for people that actually care about their privacy. Because listen, if you don't think that these giant tech conglomerates and all these different alphabet agencies within the U.S. government are spying on your messages, well, frankly, we're not paying enough attention to the news. However, all that we have Secure, they have awesome proprietary technology that has all your messages and all your emails actually go through Switzerland as they're making their way back and forth between you and your recipient. And so let's say you're here in America and the person you're messaging is over in Canada, Mexico, or anywhere else in the world. Well, it doesn't matter, because all your messages are actually going through Switzerland back and forth from one to another, meaning that they are not subject to the Cloud Act, and they are only subject to Swiss laws, which are some of the safest in the entire world. Their technology is awesome, proprietary, and their company. They care about getting taxed out by they sponsor a company like ours, and best of all, they are offering a 25% off deal for our viewers and the viewers of Facts Matter. So head on over to secure.com and use promo code Roman to get 25% off. And the rates are not even that expensive to start with. It's only $5 for the messenger and $10 for the email and messenger combo, and they even offer a 7-day free trial. So again, head on over to secure.com, use promo code Roman, save some money, and support an awesome sponsor.
It feels like there's almost a real push away from sort of mainstream comedy. Because I know that back in the day, if you were a comic, you'd have to kind of go through all the circuits, right? Nowadays, it's almost impossible if you're an actual edgy comic to go through the traditional channel. So the guys like Ryan Long and Sam, so he's able to like put out his videos, then he's able to have his own independent podcast, and there's almost like this side ecosystem that's building up around people that can still make jokes and tell the truth. I feel like eventually, and I'd love to know if you agree with this opinion, eventually that old apparatus will just decay because it's not money anymore, right? It's like I was watching for the first time ever Seth Meyers, I think his name was, right? Seth Meyers online is late talk show. He was actually making fun of CPAC. And the jokes are just like lame. I'm okay with making fun of myself or anything like that, but it's like just lame jokes, not funny at all. So I feel like eventually that will decay, and whatever is built here will actually flourish because this is where the humor is. Do you agree with that?
I mean, comedians are going to flourish when